Hey, today I'm talking about three mystery thrillers from the 90s. And their titles are U.S. Marshals, Open Your Eyes, and The Game. First up is U.S. Marshals. This is a 1998 film starring Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes. This is a sequel slash spin-off to The Fugitive, a movie that I crazy love. I actually have seen this film before, but I didn't really remember it. But even with that, it was still great. It was really solid. The mystery element of it was great. It was just fun piecing everything together and figuring out what was going on. But the action and tension worked really well. I think both Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes did great. My big complaint is what I'm just gonna refer to as cop porn. It's just, there's scenes where like the federal agents do stuff that's questionably legal, all in the name of catching the bad guy. They occasionally do just straight up break the law. And this movie also features moments of humor that happen with the Marshals that just feel super out of place. Because the movie's very dark and serious, like they're trying to find a murderer. But then these light moments happen, but they just don't work. I do get having light moments in a dark movie, like that makes sense, but they didn't nail it. And the last thing I'll say about what I didn't like is that it may have been a little too similar to The Fugitive. Because while thinking back on some of the best moments from this movie, it kind of felt like a lot of those moments are kind of pretty similar to moments from The Fugitive. That all being said, I still like this movie a ton. I ended up putting it really high in the quite like section. I don't know, like if you like this type of movie, definitely go for it. But if you haven't seen The Fugitive, I would definitely, without a doubt, recommend that movie way more than this one. Like this one's good, but The Fugitive is amazing. And then if you're like itching for more Tommy Lee Jones goodness, then I'd say watch Men in Black. And then after that, I would say watch No Country for Old Men. And then after that, sure, I guess this one can be number 4. Though really, there's so many other good Tommy Lee Jones movies. Next up is Open Your Eyes. This is a 1997 Spanish film featuring Penelope Cruz, my second one of hers. So this movie was a mixed bag, to kind of say the least. Because it started off like fine, it was alright, it was in the liked category. It's about this guy who is a player, but then he finds this woman that he really likes, and then right before they can really hit it off, he gets into a car accident that messes up his entire face. And then for like 45 minutes, he just complains about having an ugly face with a very bad prosthetic. And it just goes on for forever. So while all of that is happening, this movie definitely dipped down into the meh category. And I got so bored. But then halfway through the movie, something happened. It peaked back up. And then it kept getting better, and then better, and then better. And then right as we get into the third act, it triggered something in my mind. And I was like, wait a second. I've seen this before. I know this. And then it clicked. Vanilla Sky is a remake of this movie. I've seen Vanilla Sky. That's a great movie. But then from there, it just kept getting better and better until the end, which the end was amazing. The end just worked. It was so satisfying and great and amazing. It's so good. But like, so much of this movie is just a guy complaining about how ugly his face is. And that takes way too long to get to the super interesting stuff. And that was really frustrating. But because the end was amazing, I ended up putting this in the quite like section, kind of at the bottom of the quite like section, but still in the quite like section. It's such a mixed bag. A mixed bag is the perfect turn of phrase to describe this movie. There's some things that are incredible and some things that are just like, what is happening right now? Why are we doing this? Oh my God. I would say you could probably pass on this one and watch Vanilla Sky instead. And I would say if you're just like itching for more of like that same vibe, then continue on to this one. I don't think you need to watch this one first. Watch Vanilla Sky first and then watch this one. It'll be good. Penelope Cruz is in both. I like her. And lastly is The Game. This is a 1997 David Fincher movie starring Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. And it is the last David Fincher movie I had to see. I didn't realize I've seen literally all of his other movies. I have now seen all of David Fincher's movies. And it was alright. It's kind of hard to judge this movie because it's kind of its own genre of film now. It's It's basically like Total Recall, except without the sci-fi and without the over-the-top action. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. This rich guy pays this company to put on this mystery thing while he lives his life, and he never knows when the game's gonna come into stuff, what's like a part of the game and not. The actual mystery thriller stuff was interesting. My main issue with it is just that like he faffs about for so much of the movie, just like doing his regular life stuff. And I was like, I really hope this comes back into play with the actual game, but a lot of it doesn't, unless I just super miss stuff. And like, the mystery overall was interesting. I did, immediately be like, okay, it's this. And it was that. That was still interesting, but just it doesn't really have a lot to it that made me be like, oh yeah, this is exciting and different. It just felt very bare bones to me. Though Michael Douglas does do a fine job. I definitely didn't hate it though. It was all right. It was still enjoyable. I'm definitely not gonna come back to it anytime soon though. If you really like this genre of film, I'd say go for it. It's not really a must watch. You're not in for a bad time if you watch it, but it's not like you don't really need to go out of your way to watch it. If it's on TV, go for it. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got U.S. Marshals sitting at number 64 in the Quite Like section. And then after that is Open Your Eyes at number 105. Also in the Quite Like section. And then bringing up the rear is The Game, sitting at number 137 in the Liked section. And this is out of a total of 217 old movies so far this year. And that brings the grand total out of all the movies I've seen this year up to 264.